What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to be talking about how to go about getting rid of charge-offs that are showing up on your credit report. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what route to take and how to go about dealing with any charge-offs to make sure that you're maximizing the amount of points that you're getting back onto your credit score. So if that interests you, be sure to stay tuned. What's up, y'all? My name is Tomy Boboy, your credit and personal finance coach. If this is your first time on my channel, I'd just like to say welcome. Typically on this channel, I'm talking about things related to credit and personal finance. So if you're interested in improving your credit and achieving financial freedom, then be sure that you hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now let's jump into how to go about actually getting rid of charge-offs. Now the first thing I want to do is make sure that we're on the same page about what a charge-off actually is. Okay, so to break down a charge-off, basically what that is when the original creditor, so you can think like Verizon, any phone company, Sprint, T-Mobile, or any credit card company, whatever the original creditor is, the company that you got into an original agreement with in the first place, when that company doesn't receive payments from you. So let's say you've missed your monthly payments with them for 3 to 6 months, right? Typically they want to hit that they want to do it before that 6-month point. Then what they'll do is they'll charge off the account. And what that typically means is they will end up charging it off on their books. So just writing it off on their books and then selling the account to a debt collector for like a fraction of whatever the cost is or the amount is. So if you owe $1,000 phone bill, right, you have $1,000 in terms of how the bill is from all the past due amounts and everything, then they might sell it off to a debt collector for, just for an example, $300, right? So the debt collector pays $300, gets that debt, and then they'll reach out to you trying to collect the full $1,000. Okay, so that's how the debt collector makes money, and the original creditor wins too, because one, they got $300, right? And if they haven't received money from you in 6 months, they're just assuming that you weren't planning on paying them, right? And so they at least got some money, the $300. And on top of that, they get to write it off on their taxes as well. Okay, so typically you'll see in that type of situation, you might even get like a tax form in the mail because technically since they wrote it off, like it's money that you didn't have to pay and you might have to owe taxes on that amount. Okay, so that's basically in a nutshell what an actual charge-off is. So now where do you actually start whenever you're working towards getting it removed? Now, the first thing I always tell people is you want to look at the statute of limitations. Now, that's going to vary depending on what state you're in. You can find, if you just Google statute of limitations and you put your whatever your state is. So in my case, I'm in Texas, so I put Texas statute of limitations. It'll give me an idea what my statute of limitations are for any type of debt that I have on my account. The reason why you want to know the statute of limitations is because you never want to try to dispute any type of debt that is within the statute of limitations and it's like a large amount, right? So let's say, for example, you owe $5,000 for something and it still is within the statute of limitations. Well, if you keep trying to dispute this account, what do you think that the actual company is going to do that owns that debt at the time? If they see that you just keep disputing it, in their mind, they're thinking, oh, you're trying to get rid of this debt. You're trying to take it off of your credit report. And it might make sense for them to just sue you, right? To just take you to court on that debt because they know that they can win because they have the proof of it, right? So that's why you always want to make sure that, you're not disputing anything that is within the statute of limitations or is a really high debt. Okay, so let's say, and is a really high debt. So it's in the statute of limitations and it's more than like $1,000 that you owe. Whenever it's that kind of combination, it might make sense for that company to just, take you straight to court and try to get a judgment. Okay, so that's one thing I always tell people. First off, you want to look at the statute of limitations on any type of things that you're disputing on your credit, because that has a big factor to play whenever you are disputing with these guys and they're trying to think what their next move is going to be. Now, the next thing is you want to decide whether it's even worth it for you to even remove that account. The thing with charge-offs is once they sell that debt off, it should be zeroed out. That's usually the first thing that I look at if I see a charge-off is if it's not completely zeroed out, but then I see that there's a debt collector that has that is showing an account on your credit report that has the exact same amount and everything, and it's literally the exact account that the original creditor is trying to show on your credit report, then that's going to be easy for you to get that removed. Easy for you to get that charge-off removed. Typically, it's supposed to be zeroed out, and that way it's showing that they no longer, you no longer owe anything directly to those guys, right? To the original creditor. Now, one thing that I tell you to look at is you want to look at how your history has been with that company. Okay. So let's say, for example, that it was a credit card that you had with this company and you were making payments for 5 years straight. You made perfect. You never missed a payment. You know, you paid on time, never had any issues with this company. And then maybe you came into some sort of financial hardship in year 6, right? And you missed 6 payments in a row. They decided to charge off the account and got rid of it. Well, if you think about it, it might not make sense for you to actually get that account removed, because think about the 5 years of perfect or positive payment history that you're going to lose if you get that account removed, right? That's why I'm always careful whenever I'm dealing with any type of charge-offs, because it can actually be something that's helping boost your score, even though you might not think it is, right? It's helping you improve your score. And then once you actually get that charge-off removed, if you're able to get it removed, then you're going to see your score drop instead of your score go up. Okay, so you want to look at it in terms of the positive payment history. But again, if you're in a scenario where, let's say, you know, you've had this, let's say the credit card example, you had the credit card for 5 years, but you were missing payments here and there. Like you might have paid 1 month and then you missed 2 or 3 months, then you caught back up and then you were making payments again, but then you started missing even more payments, where, you know, like your payment history is just hit or miss throughout the whole time that you had it. Then that might be a reason for you to actually dispute it and try to get it removed. Now, if you are looking at the payment history on that account and you decide that, you know, it's the history is not good enough for you to leave it on your credit report, you just feel that there's too many missed payments and things like that and other derogatories on it, then it might make sense for you to get it removed. And that's whenever you want to go to the next step. Now, what you want to do is you want to go into factual disputing. Okay, what that means is, and I've talked about this in my other videos, in my other credit videos, you want to start looking at finding any type of errors that you can use to dispute that account and get it removed. Okay, and the great thing is, if you, especially the older this account is, the more likely that there's going to be mistakes that were done. And you want to find anything, right? If it can be, you know, if the amount, let's say the amount that you paid is wrong on one of the months, or, you know, the amount that you owed is wrong, whatever the issue, you know, there's a lot of different things, you know, maybe your credit limit amount is wrong. There's a lot of different things that could be wrong depending on the type of account it is. And you want to just go through and factually dispute it, finding any type of errors on that account. Now, the idea is you want to look for errors, and any errors that you find, you want to use those errors to you want to send those errors into the credit bureaus. And this is done after you've actually verified. You've already asked them to verify all the accounts. Okay, I've talked about this in one of my previous videos, and also in my Facebook group. I actually give you guys a letter that you can send, which I think is the first letter you want to send to the credit bureaus, just trying to get them to verify the accounts. Once they verify, then they are by law required to have everything on your credit report be 100% verifiable and accurate. Okay, so if they have said and verified that it's all 100% correct, and you find just one error, you can get that account removed, because they've already told you, right? Because you asked them, hey, can you just make sure this account is correct? They've told you that it's 100% correct because they did the work. Right? And in that case, if you come back with an error and you say, hey, look, I just found this mistake. You told me that it was 100% accurate, 100% verified, and I have proof here that it isn't, so I'm going to need you to remove the account. And now they're in a situation where they only have 2 options. Either they remove the account, right, and it just ends there, or if they try to kind of stonewall you and they don't remove the account, you have now built a case, because you have everything that you've sent them and the responses that you've gotten. You can now build a case and end up taking it to an attorney, right, and sue for damages. So that's really the route that you want to take if you're in a situation where you want to get that account removed. Now, another thing that you're going to have to worry about is the account is going to be sold, right? Has your account already been sold to a debt collector? If you're in a situation where it has, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to watch my other videos where I talked about how to deal with debt collectors. In those videos, I give out letters as well, but I also talk to you and break down exactly what the flow is and what you should do whenever you're talking with those debt collectors. And one thing I want you to know that at the very least you should do is you should always reply to any of those, dunning letters that you get. Whenever the debt collector sends you a letter saying, hey, this is this is your first contact with that debt collector. They send you saying, hey, I want you to know that we now assume this debt, yada, yada, yada. They're going to talk on there and basically tell you where the account is, how much is owed, so on and so forth. And they say, hey, if you don't reply within 30 days of receiving this letter, then we're going to assume that this debt is yours. You always want to make sure that you're replying to those letters, right? You can use the letter that is in my other debt collector video. And that letter is basically going to tell them, hey, show me proof that you own this account. Now, the benefit is that letter works whenever it is a charge off, right? Since they're now a debt collector who has bought the debt, right? They still have to show you proof that they own the debt. But the other benefit is the more that your debt gets transferred from person to person or from company to company, then typically files or things get lost, right? For example, if let's say it's a Sprint bill and I'm a debt collector, I might go to Sprint and pay them money to get that debt. And they might give me, a bunch of bills or something that I have, right? And then I'll try to collect from you. If I'm not able to collect from you and I have to sell it off to another debt collector, instead of me giving those bills and everything to that debt collector, I might just give him all your information, like your number, the amount owed, what the debt is, so on and so forth. Okay, because you got to think that if I'm a debt collector, I'm not just buying your phone bill from Sprint. Like I'm buying like 2,000 or 10,000 phone bills from Sprint or something crazy like that, where I'm getting it in a spreadsheet and then they're sending me a bunch of files for each person, all this stuff. And I might not want to, or I might be a situation where I end up losing some of the files. So I'm just going to hand off whatever I have to the next guy, right? And then maybe I bought it from Sprint for $300, and then now I'm selling it to this guy for, whether it's 400 or 250, whatever it is, right? Selling it for a different price to this guy, where I was able to collect just on a few of the accounts. The accounts that I collected, I take them out the spreadsheet and then I just sell the rest off to him. So that's why you always want to make sure that you reply to those dunning letters with a letter basically asking them to show you the proof, because a lot of the times they're not going to have the actual proof that they need by law to be able to collect that debt from you. Okay, so that's going to be pretty much it for this video. By now you should have a solid understanding of how charge-offs work and should understand what's the best thing for you to do to make sure that you have the best impact on your actual credit score. Okay, so if you have any other questions, or if you're dealing with any type of other issues, let's say for example that you have hard inquiries, repos, bankruptcies, late payments, whatever it is, I'm going to link down to my videos in the description as well as in the comments down below, where you can learn more about videos that I've shot detailing and breaking down what to do if you're in those type of situations. Okay, so be sure that you check those out. Also, make sure you throw a like on this video if you enjoyed the content, and also make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. Alrighty, so that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I will see you at the next one.